Hey everyone, in this video we're gonna learn how we can create a calendar in Power App and how we can dynamically connect a collection data or a gallery data to the calendar. So this is a sample app. It is showing me all the different work items that my team is working. And as you can see here, I have a beautiful gallery that is showing me all the data. It is showing me the work item title, who it assigned to, due date, start date, and other information. And if you are following my YouTube channel, there is a video that I have already created where I have shown that how you can create this kind of gallery with the form and all. So it is highly recommended that you should watch that video. Link is here. So in this gallery, as you can see here, I can see all the information with the due date. But sometimes we have requirement where client or our colleague asks, can we see the same information in a calendar view? Okay, so if I click on this switch to calendar view, what's going to happen? Now the same data that we have in a gallery view is now converted or displayed as a calendar. And it is also showing me all the different work items that were presented in a tabular way in the date when they are due. From here, I can click on any of these small items and I can see the detail about those tasks. From here, I can change, I can update, and I can save it back to my list. I can go to the next date and see what is due in the next month, and I can keep going, and I can come back to the today, I can go previously. So pretty operational calendar. And then if I want to look at in the gallery view, I can quickly switch and come back to my gallery view. So this is what we are going to build today. So first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to log into my make.powerapps.com and start creating an app. Okay, so I logged into make.powerapps.com, and if you notice, I have already started with an existing app. And this app is nothing but the other app that I have talked about, for which I have a video. Again, link you can check here. If you want to create that app and start from where I'm starting, you can definitely do that. Or you can just start from the empty app. This is not required. I'm just using it. Or you can start from your own app. If you have a gallery that has the due date and other information, you can start from there. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to add a new screen. That screen we will use to create the calendar. So the screen is ready. I have added my header that I'm using on my other screen. Now, before we start creating calendar, let's understand how calendar works. This is all you know what this is. It's a 2022 calendar. If you look at the every month, right? And if you look at this grid, we have 7 days in a week. So that is 7. And then we have 6 rows in each of these months. So each month is the representation of 6 into 7 cells. So that comes to 42. So when we are going to create a calendar, we need to make sure that we are creating a grid of 42 cells. Of course, as you know, if we need something that is repeating itself, we have to use gallery. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to insert and insert a vertical gallery. Okay, and for now I'll change the layout to just the title. I'll a little bit resize it, and then from here I'm going to delete the separator and delete the arrow because we don't need that. Okay, so our gallery is ready. Now let's talk about the data. So we need 42 cells. So if you know, there is a function in Power App that's called sequence, and if I pass a number here, what it's going to do, it's going to create the sequence of 42. And you look here, right? So from 1 to 42, and if I go back to my gallery and if I select the title and text for this title, I would say this item dot value, and you see here, right? So now I have all those 42 created. Now we know there's 7 days in a week. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change this gallery rep count from 1 to 7. And here you go. So now we have really good looking matrix from 1 to 42. So our first part is done. We were able to create this kind of behavior. Okay. Now the next thing, if we are creating the calendar, we don't need the numbers, we need the actual dates. So what we need to do, the sequence is giving me a collection of number from 1 to 42. What I want instead, for each of these item in this collection, I want to insert the date. And how I would do that, I have to go through each of these items. So for, if I say each, that means I need to use for all. Okay, so I'm saying for all, that means for each of these sequence that is creating, whatever the value, okay, so the value is going to be that current item. So it will start from 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and then keep going. Plus, we need to add the date. So how you can get the date in Power App? Today, right? Pretty simple. I'm gonna just do this and close it up. And you notice, right? Now we have the date. But if you notice correctly, let me make it a little bit bigger so you can see this is the full date here. It is actually starting from 15th January. This is month, date, and year. So it is displaying the dates, but this is not how calendar should display the date. And you can take a reference here, right? So if I'm in January, the first cell, this should be Sunday, should start from 26. And the first should be on Saturday because January 1st was on Saturday. This is showing the date, but as we know that we are creating calendars, so I'm going to move from month to month, right? So we're going to move from January to February to March and all of that. So what I need to do, I need to dynamically create that first day of that month and that year. Okay, so I need to create a variable. So that I will do here. I'll go to the app on start. Okay, these are some previous variable that I'm using, so don't worry about them. I'm gonna say set variable current date, and I'm going to say date. So what I'm doing here, as you can see here, I'm creating the current date for that month. So I'm extracting the year from the today, and then I'm gonna extract the month from today. Okay, so we created this variable that's gonna have the current date that will always start from the first day of that month. And now I'll come back here, and instead of using this today, I'm going to use that variable. So now if you notice, things has changed, correct? Now it is starting from the 2nd of January. But if you notice, this is Sunday, as we have said. The calendar start always on Sunday, and it should be Saturday as the day 1. So what we need to do, we need to shift the first day of January to the Saturday because that's the right weekday for that. Okay, so understand this scenario better. Let me do one more thing. Let me insert another gallery. I'm going to use the title only here as well. Okay, I'm going to adjust the height and width of this gallery. Remove the separator and the next arrow. The item of this gallery, I'm going to say calendar dot weekdays short. You can use long also. Okay, and then the same thing, the ref count, I'm going to say 7. Just setting up the height and width, X and Y. Okay, and I'm going to give some background so we can easily see that. Okay, awesome, right? So these are our weekdays: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay, now if you notice here, so the current date is the first day of January, that is 1/1/2022. Then we are adding the value of the sequence. We are adding 1. That's why our calendar is starting from the 2nd, but that's okay. What we need to do though, the 2nd should be the 2nd row of this month. It's starting from the top. So we need to shift this here. How many days we need to shift it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we need to shift it to the 7 days. And how we will do that shifting? You need to do here, you need to minus, use a formula called weekday, and pass the current date. Now you notice the first 22 is starting from the Saturday. The 2nd January start to the next row of Sunday. So our initial part is done. Now, of course, you don't want to show this entire date. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to just say, okay, so it is just going to show me the date number. I'll align it center. Okay, and then I'm going to move it a little bit on top. And you can, of course, arrange it as and however you want it to be arranged. Okay, so this part is done. But again, notice one thing. This is the month of January, and how I know, I can create a label on the top and just use this simple formula here. So I'm saying variable current date, that's the date that we are calculating, and give me in this format MMM and YYYY, and convert it to text. Okay, now one thing we will do for this title that is showing our date, I'm gonna say width, template width. So we are just making it full width, and also height, parent dot template height. Okay, so we're gonna make sure that it is full width and full height. And then I'm going to go to the border here, 0.5, and the border color for this one, I'm gonna say, yep, okay, right. Now if you notice in this calendar, if you see in the January, only January dates are bold and other dates are grayed out. So for that, what we need to do, go to the color value of this one. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a simple formula for that. So this formula is checking if the current date month is not equal to the variable current date. This is the date that we are calculating. If it is not equal to, then we're going to fade the color, and else we're going to keep it black. And right now I'm going to just go here. I think the fill property, we need to say white. Okay, so because the fill property was transparent, and in the function we were using the self.fill, so I just set the self.fill to white. So now you can see the other dates are grayed out. Okay, so now we have almost done with our January month calendar. Now one thing also we need to do, we need to highlight the current date or current day, right? So for that, the formula is going to be very straightforward. If you go to the fill property of the title or the text that is showing you the date, and go to the fill property, okay, and I'm going to use again the simple formula where I'm saying if this item dot value is today, so if that is the today, then I'm gonna just use this color, otherwise I'm gonna use white. So now it is showing me what is the date today. So we are good. We created the calendar for this month. What about moving the calendar to the next month or the previous month, right? Okay, so I added these three buttons, one for previous, today, and next. Okay, so these button is gonna help me to move to the next month or previous month or come back to the today. Let's start with today, what we need to do in today. So today, the function is going to be very straightforward, the same function that we used to calculate the variable current date. So that is our today. For next button, almost same formula, but what we are doing, we are adding 1 to the month because we want to move to the next month. And by now you may already understand what's going to happen in the previous. Yes, you are right. We are subtracting 1 from the current month. Okay, and these are the simple formula that you need to use. Now if I run it, this is January, I'm going to click next. You notice, right, the month is February. This has changed. You can confirm Tuesday is the first day of February and the 28th. You can keep going, it's going to keep changing. If I go previous, it's going to move to the December. So we have done the first part of setting up the calendar. Now let's jump on to the second part where I can connect my gallery data that I am displaying here to this calendar. Okay, so how we can do this? Now in your case, you can have the different set of data, but the only thing that you require a date column. So data can come from anywhere. It can come from SharePoint, Excel, SQL, whichever It just should have one date column in it. In my case, I'm going to use the data that is stored in my SharePoint list, and the same data I am actually displaying in this gallery that I am using in this app. It's nothing but a work progress tracker data where I have the due date that I'm going to use to display this data into the calendar. So let's go back to the calendar screen that we have built so far, and I'm going to go to the gallery that is displaying me these dates. Select the title where we are displaying the date value, okay, and insert a gallery. Okay, so remember, you are inserting another gallery inside the gallery that is displaying the calendar. Okay, I'm going to change the layout to the title only, and don't worry about this, we want to update that. I will delete the separator. I'll delete the next arrow because we need only one thing. Okay, select the gallery. The items for this gallery is going to be filter. Okay, then select the data source that you want to show into this gallery. In my case, it is work progress tracker list data, and I'm filtering this based on the due date. That's the column in my SharePoint list, equals to this item dot value. So what I'm saying, that filter my work progress tracker data where due date equal to the item where I am right now. So for each date, the data will be filtered and only display the data for that particular date. Okay, so that is done. Now we need to display that data, correct? I'll go to the title. Now it's up to you. What I'm using, I'm inserting a button and deleting the title. Insert the button before you delete the title. Then I'm going to resize this gallery a little bit so that I can see the date. And then I'm going to update this button. Okay, so I change the height and width for this button control, and also I'm going to change the font size. Okay, because this is where I'm going to show the detail about that particular work item or task. Okay, and the text for this button, I'm going to say this item. And now if you notice, all the column that I have in my work progress tracker are listed here, so I can pick whichever I want to show or display here. Okay, and then next thing what you need to do, you need to make sure that you are keeping this on the top. Okay, and next what we're going to do, we're going to go to the template size, and I'm going to remove this formula and give the size as 30 and height. Okay, just a little bit of change so I can display two items here. Okay, and the one more change that we do, we will go to the gallery, the top gallery that's displaying the calendar. And if you look at the template size, what I'm going to do, I'm going to change this to parent.height divided by 7. And I'm going to just make the scroll bar display none, so we don't need to show the scroll bar. Right, so now if you notice here, what we are showing the two of the task, right? So two tasks are displayed. If I play this app now, you can see, correct? So the data that we have in our gallery is displaying in this calendar. So one thing, if you notice here, right now it is all showing the blue background color. Now it's up to you. In my case, because I have the due date and I also have the status. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the fill property of this button and use a simple switch formula based on the progress. This is my status column and I have different status. I have not started, behind, in progress, completed, and others, right? So based on the status, I'm filling the background color of these buttons. And the color, the text color, I'm going to just make it dark so we can read it, and we can make it bold. Okay, so now if you notice, now we have the calendar that is displaying all of my tasks, and with the color coding I can see what is the status of my different tasks. The next thing what I would also do, if you look at the other dates, if I want, I can create a formula that will tell me that there is no task for that particular date if it's required. If not, it is empty. So for that, the thing is very simple. On the main gallery that is showing all the calendar date, I'm gonna select the title and insert a label, I'm going to move the label at the very end. Okay, make it center. And for the text of this label, I'm going to use another formula, and I will just give you a quick walkthrough of this formula. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm counting the rows, that how many items that we have for that particular date, as you can see here. So I'm saying count row. This is the formula to get all the tasks for that given date. And then I'm saying if the number of rows is more than 2, then I'm just typing this, what I'm saying, plus counting row and more. So I'm saying 2 plus more item if there is more than 2. If it is not more than 2, then I'm saying no more task. The reason I'm checking with 2 because I'm displaying 2 item here. From here, what I can do, I can on select of this particular label, if the item has like 3 plus more or 2 or 5 plus more, I can send them to a different screen where I can show all of them, just filtering the gallery and displaying the data. And just to make the color also look a little bit better, I'm going to go to the color property of this label and use this formula where I'm saying if count row is greater than 0, then use this color, else use this color. So now if you see, right, if I play it, if we have only 2 tasks, it is saying no more task. If it has more than 2, then it's just displaying the number of tasks, the total, and then I can have a link that can take me to the another screen where I can show all of those remaining. Okay, and taking to the other screen is pretty straightforward. You can just use the on select, use the same formula what we are using for the color. If the number of item is more than 0, then I'm gonna just say navigate and your screen name, whichever screen you want to send them. Let's say for right now I'm just saying home, and that's it. This will actually do the magic. When I click on these 3 items, it will take me to the home screen and I can have filter here. Okay, so now we have done the second part of this calendar. We were able to create the calendar. We have connected the calendar with our data that is coming from SharePoint in my case. Now I need to just connect this screen with this screen, so user can switch between the gallery view and the calendar view. The thing is very straightforward, simple. Okay, so I'll go to my home screen or whichever screen from where you want to switch to the calendar view. I'll add a button. Okay, I'm just saying switch to calendar view. Okay, and on select of this button, first thing that I'm doing, I'm setting that my current date variable that we have used in our calendar because that's required. And then after that, I will just use navigate and give the name of the screen that I'm using for my calendar. Or if I play, I'm in my gallery view, I can click switch. It's going to switch to the calendar view, right? Of course, from here I can go back. I can use similar button, and in this case I'm gonna on select just navigate back to the home, right? So now as an user I can look the data in the gallery view, and if I want to see in calendar view I can quickly switch to the calendar view, and now I have data in the calendar view. Now one more thing here, if I select any of these tasks or work item, I can see the form, right? This is a fully operational form. And again, if you want to learn how you can create something like this, check the video where I've covered this one. You can find the link in this video description. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just use the same form into my calendar screen. So if I click on any of these tasks, I should be able to see the detail. In my case, it's pretty straightforward, and if you follow my other video, you can also do that. If I go to this screen, I have this form and I have these other artifacts. Those are associated with this form, right? Okay, so I'm going to copy the form and these other button and other item from this screen to my calendar screen. First, I will move the form. I'll copy, Control-C, go to my calendar screen and just paste. Then I will go back here on my home screen and I'll copy these other item. Okay, Control-C. Go to my calendar screen and Control-V. Okay, let me play it. Okay, so it's working. Now we just need to work on displaying or showing and hiding this form based on the selection, right? So very simple. On select of this button, right, in the gallery that we have created, this button. On select property, I'm going to just put this formula. We are setting variable current task. This is one variable to this item, so we know which item we need to display. Then we are setting form type mode. So we are saying the form mode is view, and then setting this variable. This is the formula that you can use to show out this form. Let me play this. Click here. Now if you notice, nothing has changed. So what we also need to do, if I go to this form that we have just added and I go to the item property of this one, we need to replace this to that variable that we have just created, variable current task. Now if I play, awesome, right? Correct. From here I can do edit. I can do all of these operations that we can do. I have a working app where we have the gallery view. We are also giving user option to switch to the gallery view to calendar view, and also it is operational. So from here I can select the item and I can do much more. That's it for today. I hope this will help you to use this calendar view into your existing app or new app that you're going to build. Thank you. Thanks for watching, and keep learning.